Will you tell us your name?
Yeah, my name is Chantel Marcel, and I'm from Utah. I grew up kind of up in Eden, Utah, kind of a more rural sort of area of Utah. It's gotten a lot more commercialized in like the last 10 or 15 years, but that's where I grew up. And then I moved out here. If you know where like Powder Mountain, Snow Basin, up in that area, so like the reservoir up there, Pine View, that's that area. Yeah.
So you said you grew up in Utah then,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why do you stay in Utah?
Well, there is something to be said, I think, for somewhere that you're born. I think wherever you're born, it's always going to be a piece of you, whether you want it to be or not, and whether you end up moving or not. Utah will always be my home. Do I think I'll always live here? Probably not. But my family will always be here, so I'll always come back. I mean, that's basically it.
Good. About the people. So, what do you like most about the people in Utah?
You know, despite what some people think, I think there is actually a fair amount of diversity here, especially in the Salt Lake Valley. Not necessarily with, I mean, there are some different races and different things that we converge that way, but I'm talking more about a diversity of thinking. I think we've got a lot of different people, especially in Salt Lake City, that don't necessarily fit this mold that people who don't live in Utah kind of fit onto Utah. And I think it's a really interesting convergence of that on the outside, and we also experience that here on the inside in Utah, where there's a lot of us, you know, that maybe don't fit the mold of the majority here.
When you say the mold, what specifically are you referring to?
Pretty much the LDS culture. I grew up LDS, so I mean, I have a lot of respect for that religion. I have plenty of friends and family who are LDS, and I guess it's an interesting dynamic sometimes as far as just the interaction between people who are LDS and people who aren't here. I think oftentimes you can be pleasantly surprised at especially the younger generation, how open-minded they can be. And then you can also be surprised at some people you come across and how closed-minded they can be. I think for me, it's all what you decide to focus on, you know. You can decide to focus on the people that make you feel good about being here, or the people who make you feel bad about being here. So, yeah.
What is your occupation here in Utah?
I'm actually a civil servant, so I work in the government for a local municipality, and I mean, it's a really good job. It's really nice, but you can sometimes see that on a very, I guess, intimate level and dynamic when you're kind of working in that arena. So it's just something I see every day, not just with, you know, people I work with, but you interact with the public all day, you know, so you see a lot of different types of people.
What would you say, is there any event or something that's happened to you that stands out to you as being one of the worst things you've ever experienced, and the opposite? Is there something specific that stands out to you that you've experienced that is really good?
Sure. Let's see. You know, any of the bad things that I've experienced here, I don't know if I would necessarily term them bad things, just from my own personal outlook. I guess they're more growing, learning experiences. I'd say it's more been people's perceptions of me, and just having to get over the fact that there's going to be people out there who don't agree with me or my lifestyle, or and I just have to be okay with that, just as much as the opposite is true. So as far as isolating a specific event, I don't know if I could necessarily do that, but I mean, there's a lot of different things that happens in childhood with like bullying, things like that, that I think everybody experiences, just in a different way. You know.
Just out of curiosity, with the government shutdown, are you working right now?
I am, yeah.
You're state.
Yeah, so I'm not part of the federal. I'm actually just local. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, good.